The Angry Birds tried and true gameplay formula was starting to get a little stale. Thanks to Angry Birds Friends, there was a seemingly infinite amount of levels for players who enjoyed classic slingshotting action. How could they keep what was already working and still make it feel like a brand new experience? It was time for Rovio to shake things up, but just what new mechanic would match the gravity of the situation? Just how much space would this need from the rest of the series? What major change would blast off the series to a bigger and better new game? What planet would make the stars align and cause comets and meteors to... Angry Birds Space. This is the story of Angry Birds Space. Welcome back to our series of ranking every Angry Birds game. If you missed the Angry Birds Friends episode, I'd recommend watching it first before this one. In each video of the series, I will assume you've watched the previous one and will reference topics from those videos, so you're not going to want to miss any. But we have already ranked 4 of the games now, all feeling fairly similar to one another. And I think Rovio knew that taking the series to space would make for a lot of new opportunities. We'll of course get into the new gameplay mechanics in time, but first I want to discuss the history of the game and how it came to be. From what I've read, Angry Birds Space began from a collaboration with NASA themselves. The two companies could not only make a game that educates people on space physics, but could make a crazy successful new game for the franchise. From interviews, apparently it all started from a single tweet from NASA to Angry Birds about sending pigs to space. In my mind, I always assumed Rovio had the idea to make changes to the gravity of Angry Birds in order for crazy new levels to be possible. Maybe Mario Galaxy served as some inspiration, who can say? But the more you think about messing with the gravity of Angry Birds, the more it just makes sense. They also said in the same interview that in 2012, the year this game released, Rovio was gearing up more than ever to make Angry Birds, and this is a direct quote here, a permanent part of culture. The games were crazy popular, but the merchandise sales were even better, and they were working on Angry Birds Tunes and the future movie already at this time. Angry Birds was very quickly becoming more than just a game franchise, something completely intentional on Rovio's side. Still, this is the glory days of the series, so they were actually making games at this time too. They planned to release 5 brand new games in 2012. I don't think they did quite that much, but they even managed to release their first spin-off, Bad Piggies, the same year as Space and Star Wars. And the old games were all updated through the year. Rovio was a beast back then. From February to March of 2012, we slowly saw little teasers of what the game would be about. A new form for Red and Chuck were both shown off in these early teasers, and their partnership with NASA finally came to be in an educational video on board the International Space Station. We got our first glimpses of the mechanics of the game in this little video, as Red is slingshotted perfectly straight through the station. Without gravity, the birds could still be launched, but at a straight trajectory. When a planet's gravity is able to affect that object, it bends the trajectory. It's almost like a tutorial for the game while teaching you about real-world physics, and that's pretty cool. The video also included what I believe is the first gameplay clips of Angry Birds Space, where you can see everything discussed in the video actually taking effect in-game. The day before the game released, one of the greatest cinematic trailers in Angry Birds history was posted. I truly would never get sick of it. I love it that much. It gives us an idea of what the story of the game will be too. It's a seemingly normal day for the flock when a portal opens in the sky, with the instant icon Icebird launching through it. He's protecting an Eggsteroid, but apparently isn't very good at it. A metal arm comes out of the sky and takes it while he just watches. Icebird uses the slingshot to launch back up, and that's the end of it. The birds probably would have never thought twice about this interaction again if the Egg's cute little hats didn't fall from the portal, meaning they've got to join Icebird for an intergalactic adventure. As they travel through the portal, we see them each start to evolve into a brand new superhero form, and launch through the portal in all their epic glory. It's cool that the trailer goes from 2D to 3D, and each of the characters get a little heroic pose, ending with the comic strip theme for the credits. The visuals are so well done, and you just have to play whatever game this is promoting after watching such an incredible trailer. With that out of the way, we reach March 22nd, 2012, the launch day for Angry Birds Space. It released with quite a bit to do, so let's go through it. On iOS, we got the most content, and other devices took a few updates to catch up. So for the sake of simplicity, I'll just mention what was added for Apple users. The first 2 episodes, Pig Bang and Cold Cuts, were available, as well as the Golden Egg levels, now known as Eggsteroids, and the DLC pack Danger Zone. We'll of course start with Pig Bang and go through everything the game introduced from the beginning. Our intro cutscene shows our superhero flock protecting the Eggsteroids when an army of King Pig bosses come to take them. A bit different than the trailer suggested, but who really cares, right? There are some levels in this game with a pretty standard gravity compared to most Angry Birds games, but the first level pack was definitely made to help get players used to the new space trajectories. While in space, you'll always be given a straight shot until you enter a gravity field, curving your shot. The gravity field will slowly pull items towards the center, including other objects. You can use the gravity curves to make new paths towards the pigs, with one of the more fun ones being this figure 8 shape early on. Sometimes you even loop around multiple times before hitting an enemy. Just from the first few levels you can clearly see how much potential this has, and how much it changes the gameplay. Thankfully they start you off pretty simple with the one and only default bird, Super Red. As always, he's your generic, powerless protagonist, so the focus is more on the new gravity stuff than the new power-up stuff. However, Red technically can do something for the first time ever. When you tap the screen, Red vibrates on command. I need to look into getting one of these things for personal uses, but very rarely this can actually be helpful. On level 8 they add the Lightning Birds, which is business as usual. Great for breaking ice, splits into 3, and just for show, they can electrocute objects a tiny bit. So far, I've yet to see any of these superheroes use actual superpowers. The coolest thing these levels teach you is to split up the blues into separate gravity fields, hitting 2 areas of the level with just 1 bird. On level 14 we have Bomb, who looks very cool but also acts the same as he always has. I'll probably talk about this more later on, but other than the design, I think the idea of making these birds superheroes was extremely wasted by this game. Bomb's power is extremely helpful in space though, that can't be denied. The last bird introduced in this first episode is the Laser Bird, who finally makes use of a new ability. One of the most useful and powerful abilities in Angry Birds history, I'd argue. No matter where he is, you can tap anywhere on screen and Laser Bird will launch at super speed towards it. Certain angles and hidden pigs are now possible thanks to the Laser Bird. It opens the door to a lot of potential level ideas. Who would have thought? The rest of the Pig Bang levels feel really classic, as they're very simple ideas with fun ways to introduce everything new. It also goes by really quickly. Before you know it, you've been all 30 levels and you're at the boss fight. I love this one, as King Pig just drives back and forth and you pop these boulder bubbles to deal damage. It's a perfect first boss and lets you try out each new character in one level. The ending cutscene shows King Pig escape as we chase him through the next portal. Pig Bang is a great introduction to Angry Birds space and one of my favorite sets of levels in the game. My biggest complaint so far is how the camera moves. I can't even describe how many times there's a big explosion off screen because it moved away from the action for no reason. The only thing left to talk about is the Space Eagle, a brand new mighty eagle with a completely new ability. You get a few of these as power-ups throughout the game, which is nice for sure. Rather than flying across the stage, he comes in through a portal, dealing damage to that specific area he spawns from. In this version, you aren't guaranteed to kill every pig, and they allow you to use your remaining pigs to finish the job if needed. That just seems so bad to me, and way hard to get 100% scores. I am glad they tried something new for him though. As always, the first chapter takes the most time to cover. We can finally move on to Cold Cuts, an ice theme level pack. The story picks up where it left off, with Icebird getting captured alongside an Eggsteroid. At level 3 you save him, and level 4 you already have him unlocked. Icebird is one of the most unique birds in the series history. Its power is pretty straightforward, it freezes items. When paired with the Blues or Terrans, this can be extremely helpful. You can also turn asteroids into ice and various other niche advantages that we'll see later down the line. But a lot of the time, he's almost like a support character. He's there to make another bird's job easier. It's not something we've seen before or after, probably because it's a little cool and a little difficult to master. And Cold Cuts, the second level pack in the game, follows that same philosophy. Some of these levels are genuinely difficult to beat, and if you do manage to win, now try and getting 3 stars. Again, this is something I'll come back to when we actually rank this game, but I had 3 stars the majority of the levels in this game, and by the time we're done, I might try to do them all if I can. But it is a challenge, much more than Rio, Seasons, or the original. Maybe you love a challenge, maybe you find it frustrating, who knows. But in terms of Cold Cuts, I don't really like a lot of these levels. I just don't think they're that fun, and the only new mechanics are Icebird himself and this Ice the Asteroid that splits apart. Oh, and also the Monster Bird. Sure, it's just Terrence hulking out, but we love Terrence hulking out. You just love to get Terrence, and I'm happy he's part of the game. The final boss is pretty similar to the last one, except he flies back and forth and you have to hit moving asteroids at him. As with the rest of the level pack, it's more annoying than anything, really. But you kill King Pig and sort of resolve the story so far. Throughout these levels, there are some hidden golden eggs called Eggsteroids, and when you hit one, it teleports you to a brand new level. I'd already found 99% of them before making this video, and I got the last couple just by playing the remaining stages I had left to beat. Obviously, these were slowly added over time, but I'm not going to talk about them bit by bit through the video. Most of these serve as little mini games rather than normal levels, and some are cool while others almost don't work at all. Like the first level was Space Invaders, and that's perfect. And then there's Mario? And the pig just comes out of a block and walks around? That's stupid. You gotta just see these as bonuses. You don't have to beat them. Unless you want 3 stars like me. then you're forced to play all these mini games. Some of the more notable ones are Pinball, Pac-Man, Pong, and Tetris. Anyways, let's move to the final level pack, and it really is categorized as the last pack, even though it appeared from day one. Advertised as some of the most difficult Angry Birds levels in the history of the games, especially Angry Birds Space, we have the Danger Zone. I guess the story is just that there are mines and pigs. They seem to be minding their own business though, kinda messed up for us to just come in and kill them all like this. I like the feel of this episode, the red tint makes it all just a little cooler. Also, you can only play one level and the rest costs 99 cents. I wasn't going to buy it, but I decided I should, and it's only a freaking $1. I really wish you could unlock it somehow without paying money, but they chose to make it DLC, so I'll live with that, I guess. I think it would be better to end on these levels, as it is supposed to be the hardest in the game, so I'm saving them for the end. I have never played this pack before, so I'm excited. Our next update brought a little mini episode, Fry Me to the Moon. Just 10 quick levels still following the icy theme of cold cuts. I honestly think Angry Birds should have done smaller packs like this more often, as it's nice to just play through 10 levels quick. The story here is that Icebird sees a space egg being stolen by a mustache pig. I don't know if there's an alien side to this egg or what, but I guess we love all eggs in this house. Other than fighting mustache pig in each level, none of these really stand out much. Except the final level, I like that one. And we get the same cutscene with beat up mustache pig dying on the ground rather than king pig. Let's move right to the next update, with the episode called Utopia. I wonder if the pigs named it that. Their ideal world is just made of junk food and candy. Now it just makes me think of that Sausage Party show of Utopia. And other than that sexy hot dog bun, I don't ever want to have to think about Sausage Party. Utopia is really different from the rest of the game because every item is just made out of food. It completely abandons the typical space theme worlds we see in every other instance, and that's pretty fun. It also makes me hungry. I'm definitely making myself some popcorn after this. Most episodes were added with all 30 levels included, but these next two were updated in parts. I believe 10 levels at first and 20 in the second. The first set of levels gives us all the new objects, from bouncy jelly to poppable popcorn and the very appropriately themed fat pig as the first area's boss. That level is so difficult and really hard to get 3 stars on, but I think a lot of these are pretty fun. Then we got our last playable character in the following update, and if any bird fit the candy theme, it'd have to be Bubbles. It makes me really sad he's the only flock member added later on. How Matilda at least never made it is really insane. It also means this is a strictly male cast, and that's just dumb. We need Icebird's wife in this game now! Bubbles is pretty much the same, except now he's worse. When he deflates, he doesn't hit items around him anymore. Maybe they thought that would be too OP, but this compromise just makes him worse. The story of the Utopia chapter is that Red sees the big fat pig getting ready to eat an Eggsteroid, which leads us to that final boss. I think it's a little confusing at first, the burnt popcorn part especially, but you basically just need anything but popcorn to go into his mouth, and if he eats a bird they get shot into space. It is funny to have a fat eating pig as a boss though. When he eats too much, Grabby explodes, showing he actually did eat that egg. What a freak, at least it wasn't digested. I also hate that the cutscene makes him a normal pig too. You're not fooling anybody, I know you're fat! This episode also added an extra level to each section you earn 3 stars in, and these bonus levels were populated by one bird and one bird only, the space egg. Why an egg is finally playable instead of a flock member or a new one like Icebird, I have no clue. The eggs sort of just implode, creating a vortex that pulls objects toward its center. This thing can be crazy powerful, one of the strongest forces in the game. I like these levels too, and you gotta appreciate a little bonus for all your hard work. Except you also gotta 3-star the bonus level too, just making more work for yourself. What a ripoff! Red Planet is up next, a much more basic level theme than Utopia was. A rover lands on this red planet, and now the pigs are using it to collect eggs. Steam geysers are the big new mechanic, once again finding a new way to affect the trajectory of birds and objects. There's also a fiery asteroid that explodes into pieces. I'd have to say this is one of the more fun level packs since Pig Bang. The steam geysers really feel right at home with the main mechanics of the game. I really don't care for the final boss though, it's kinda just a random group of pigs and a hidden mustache pig and nothing more. If you want to scare me to my absolute core, then try mixing the gravity mechanics of Angry Birds Space with the one and only bane of every gamer's existence, water levels. Having water work the opposite way than the gravity is a really fun and great idea, but now I have to 3-star these levels that are breaking my mind? At least all the planets are these cool giant fish I get to look at, but not good enough. Seriously though, the way water works in this game is way too cool to ignore, even if it freaks me out. These levels are genius, and I'm very conflicted on whether I'm happy they exist, or I wish Romeo had never thought of it. Pigs don't drown though, so these levels can be very frustrating. King Pig pilots a submarine for this one, which of course appears in the final boss. I also don't think this one was that great, but definitely feels like the first few. And we've saved another Eggsteroid. They added power-ups in this update too, so let's go through them. First is called Flock of Birds, duplicating your chosen bird that each use your power. Trying the blues with this one is crazy. Then there's the Space Egg, letting you use a very powerful character in any stage you want. Lastly, Pig Puffer is pretty self-explanatory, but you gotta love it. The game teamed up with the musician Slash to make a new menu theme for the game, and even got a little bird Sona. Never playable, but looks awesome. I'm sure I'll play the theme he made for the game at some point in this video. After the Pig Dipper is Cosmic Crystals. When I started going through the levels of this video, I had 3-starred everything up to this chapter, so I actually started here, played through the last couple of chapters, and then started over from the beginning. A little strange, I know. But I played a lot of this episode, and honestly, I think it's one of the best. The crystal orbs that can shatter and spread are a fun new mechanic, especially the ones with gravity fields that completely dissipate after being destroyed. It's so cool and really destructive. And the crystalline theme of the episode is really memorable. A lot of levels felt like puzzles to solve, and I really enjoy Angry Birds levels like that. This one has this new 3-eyed alien pig, who honestly should have just been the main boss of the game. The fight against him is pretty easy though, you just put rocks near him and he sucks him up and dies. I still enjoyed it though. For some reason, the end cutscene only has Red, the Blues, and Terrence in it, which felt weird. Anyways, I really like what they did with the next set of episodes. Beak Impact is split into 2 sections, and in order to unlock the second, you have to 3-star the first one or pay to play it. I really don't mind in-app purchases like that, as long as it's within reason to unlock, and it definitely is. I really enjoyed playing through both these chapters too. The story strangely connects to the last chapter for once, and now the pigs seem to be mining. Not sure why the birds care, but we gotta slaughter some pigs. It feels like these levels mostly take place in no gravity space, which is cool. There's a few new mechanics like clusters of rocks, gas tanks, and batteries. They each fit this mining theme pretty well, and I gotta say the gas tanks and batteries are some of my favorite additions I've seen in the game. I almost forgot about the radioactive asteroids that kill any pigs in range. It's not as good as the other asteroids, but it is an interesting new idea. The final boss of the first part of these chapters has these little mini UFOs to take out, lining up in specific patterns for you to get rid of as many as you can in one shot. Then King Pig himself shows up, and he looks really menacing. But you can just hit him with your laser bird and he dies instantly. This level pack has a lot of references to NASA vehicles and ships, as this was their next big team up. To celebrate, we got a brand new bird, the Mighty Buzzard. I don't know why the Mighty Eagle needed to look like Buzz Aldrin, with no changes otherwise, but hey, it's fun I guess. So I went through and 3-starred all levels quick, then played Beak Impact 2. It's more the same, which is great because I already liked it. There's a lot more pig-built structures this time, and we end with probably the worst boss fight in the game. The idea is you have to hit switches on the sides to open the door to King Pig, but they give you Laser Bird and they don't block you off in any way, so I just aimed around the structure and blew up King Pig, and that literally gives you 3 stars. You're freaking encouraged to beat it that way. Anyways, the bird just kinda watch while King Pig freezes in space. That's messed up, man. This update came out 265 days after the previous one. A long gap for an Angry Birds game, but my guess is they're working on this and the big update we got next. I kid you not, this is technically the biggest update in Angry Birds history, in terms of the amount of new content we got, I suppose. A chapter titled Brass Hogs is here with a steampunky aesthetic, emphasis on the steam. We kinda already had steam in the game, but I'm not complaining. Here's the catch though, daily missions. In order to unlock the levels in this game, you have to collect points from 3 daily missions, otherwise known as the bane of my existence when I'm trying to make a video on this game within a week or so. Thankfully, they don't care if you just change the time on your phone, so I will be able to unlock them all. It's just gonna take forever. Here's the thing though, most of the missions are beat this level or get 3 stars here, but I've played the whole game now, which means the only thing left to give me missions for is the Mirror World. Yeah, remember how I said this was the biggest update ever? It's because they nearly double the levels in this freaking game. Now, let's be totally fair, these aren't completely new levels. They're mirrored, more difficult versions of the levels we already had, all featuring the big bad boss Hector Porco. It is fun to have this new villain for the Mirror World, and it helps make them a bit more fun. There's no way in hell I'm going through and 3-starring all those damn mirror levels though. Look, if you love this game, you have so much new content to go through. But for me, I like the main game fine and well, but some of these levels are already difficult. I really don't want more difficult levels. The amount of times I thought to myself, thank God I don't have to get 3 stars on that level ever again, while playing this game has to be in the triple digits. And to think I'd be forcing myself to actually do it again is leaning towards masochism, man. I play plenty for these daily missions, I get the gist. The gloomy look of these levels gets old pretty quick too. I'm very thankful they added an option in the settings to turn that crap off. Anyways, as I'm writing this script, I have not yet beaten all the daily missions, so I'll see you in a few hours when I not only lock the Brass Hogs levels, but finish them too.
24 hours later.
Well, a few hours turned into a full day of playing missions and 3-star and random mirror world levels. It was fun at times, but pretty exhausting for sure. Obviously you weren't meant to do this all in one sitting. The funniest part about this mission structure is it really believes I time traveled 2 months in the future to play these missions, so I won't be unlocking any more for another 1,152 more hours. I did successfully get 3 stars on Brass Hogs, and I expected some epic final boss for all my hard work, and instead I got this. A timing puzzle with 2 of the flock at my disposal. I was definitely pretty disappointed. Hector Porco wasn't even there. Then I realized, oh, the Mirror World boss is the real final boss then. Nope, just the same thing. Look, the good news is we're past the Mirror World crap. Let's cover the last few worlds here. A little mini sponsor level pack called Fruit Loops Bloopers was added in this update too. They're mostly colorful serial themed levels, but we actually got a brand new bird here. Toucan Sam replaces the mighty eagle, zooming in on his big ol' head as he goes. I can't play these levels, but I wish I could. And Wingman was added in this update. It's a gift that keeps on giving, huh? Leave a like if you're mad I never ranked Space Wingman. And the last episode added to Angry Birds Space is the solar system. It's a fun idea, featuring a theme for each planet or landmark in our solar system. This little egg speaker is a new item, exploding when activated and bringing us back the educational aspect of the game with a little fun fact. They annoyingly cover the screen though, so most of the time I never bother looking at them. Also, that little egg thing was supposed to track eggs for the pigs to find, but that really did its job, huh? Not a very exciting final set of levels, but enjoyable nonetheless. I guess that makes my decision to say the toughest for last an even greater idea. It was always put at the end of the episode packs, acting as the finale regardless of what update the game would end on. Same as before, I'm going to spend some time playing through the Danger Zone levels for the first time. Hopefully I haven't lost my mind once I'm finished.
Many hours later.
Well, I did it. All 3 stars on the hardest level pack in the game. It honestly didn't feel like that was the case though. These felt like pretty typical levels, and none quite reached some of the Utopia or underwater levels difficulties. It was almost a little boring considering it had no new mechanics or ideas. I think this game could have really used the final boss man, since the early boss fights were really fun. The final level here is pretty fun as an ending to this massive game, but did not feel like an ending at all. We have finished Angry Birds Space. Now let's rank it, shall we? For the first 4 games in this series, I had to play a pretty decent amount to get footage for their videos. The first game had quite a few chapters to get through for sure, but Seasons I had nearly 100% completed, and I did fully complete Rio years before making that video, so it was a walk in the park. I played Angry Birds Friends for a total of 10 minutes for that video, what a strange one. But Space just has so much content, dude, and so much you have to do to unlock everything. Getting 3 stars on every level isn't necessary, and a lot of that I had done years ago. Up to Cosmic Crystals was completely 3-star when I started working on this video. I'd done 3-star that episode, both Beak Impacts, the solar system, and some remaining Eggsteroids. I tried my best through Brass Hogs and any Mirror World levels I entered, but realistically this video would have taken much longer if I really went for it, and I don't think it would be worth it. Danger Zone wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, so I went and did that too. Maybe one day I'll go through and get those remaining 3 stars finished, who knows, but even still you can't deny I have played this game. I have lived this game, and I mean that. I can't tell you how many levels I would do the same shot again and again and again, the exact same way, just waiting for the tiny little bit of luck I needed for everything to line up correctly and score enough points to 3-star that level. Sometimes hours are spent on just one level, when most packs have at least 30 levels in them. All Angry Birds games are like this for sure, but no game is quite as demanding as Space, I feel. I'm pretty confident in saying this is the hardest Slingshot game that's ever released, even if you don't care about getting 3 stars. The new mechanics can be a little difficult to grasp, but they lend to such finicky clear conditions sometimes, and in my experience, it makes the game a little less enjoyable for me. Even the power-ups like the Mighty Eagle that are meant to make the game easier for you don't give you a free win, you have to earn it. Some levels I do enjoy the challenge, I like figuring out what the game wants from me. What I don't like is when I know what they want me to do, but I have to get the perfect outcome by a complete random chance. That's not fun for me. And maybe this is just a problem I face. I really like to hear if any of you had a similar experience with this game. I'll end my final thoughts with this. Angry Birds Space is one of the coolest, most inventive, and exciting Slingshot games to ever exist. I'm still blown away by the mechanics it's brought to the series. But its frustrating level design, wasted potential, and overall feeling of the game is just not quite what I like to see in Angry Birds games. It is still one of the best games in the series, but I will be placing it in A tier. Sorry to those of you who hope to see it go higher than my original placement, but playing it through it again has only reinforced my opinion on it. It's a great and really fun game, but when I compare it to the games already in S, the decision is pretty clear. Let me know where you would place Angry Birds Space, and more importantly, why. It's fair to say it was your favorite as a kid, or it's simply nostalgic. I also put Rio in S partly for that reason, but still, I'd love to hear it. The Angry Birds Friends video did worse than I even expected it to. I'm very much hoping this video does well, and all I ask is that you like and comment on this video to help more people see it. That's the best way to keep this series running for as long as we can. You can also join my Patreon or membership to ensure this channel still exists in the near future. I'm going to be really blunt here, there's a good chance that it won't. And I'm not trying to manipulate anyone into supporting the channel or anything, but if you enjoy my videos at all, now is definitely the time to support me in any way you can. My current members have already helped keep this channel going for as long as it has, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Leland, Patrick Barjan, Brightstreak, MD Switchy, Dojo Master, Jasper TV, Keep, Gull Guy, Jeff the Legend, Cheaper Ying, Gotham, Marie, Callum Ford, Cyro Was Taken, Perskill Benetter, Bo Vanderland, Checky, Green Man Yeah, Mr. Odell, Timur Kuranov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Lavatane, Board, Pika Girl for You, Miku, Gemina, Lewis, Christoph Creations, and Eduardo Santiago. I'm gonna be honest guys, I put a lot of work into that Star Wars thumbnail featuring the upcoming double feature for both the games, and then I remembered Bad Piggies comes first. So I don't have the thumbnail for that yet, but most likely I will be playing Bad Piggies next time. I'll see you then. Goodbye. If you want to scare me to my absolute gore, then try mixing the gravity mechanics of Angry Birds Space with the one and only bane of every game. If you want to scare me to my absolute core, then try mixing the gravity mechanics of Angry Birds Space with the one and only bane of every game. If you want to scare me to my absolute core, then try mix. If you want to scare me to my absolute core, then try mixing the gravity mechanics of Angry Birds Space with the one and only bane of every gamer's existence. If you want to scare me to my absolute gore, then try mixing the gravity mechanics of Angry Birds Space with the